So today I figured out I'm terrible at doing this deck reviews because I get stuck a lot and bumble a lot. So this is like the fifth take, but I'm going to do it anyways because I'm really falling in love with this deck. This was like my failed dream deck. I always wanted to make it work, but the support came out literally some months after I stopped playing, so I could never really properly play it, or at least the way it is now, because most of these cards are new-ish support. So the main idea of this deck is you have big, strong monsters. Most of them, if they attack, your opponent cannot activate spell trap cards until the end of the damage step, and they have very strong monsters. Also, some of them, like the Ancient Golem, deal piercing damage, and other directly destroy spell or trap cards. So first, I'm going to go over every card in order because I feel that's the clearest way to do it. And I will just describe the effect, and then I will go into synergies, because I figured out that when I go into synergies directly, then I start going very off the rail. So yeah, Incendiary Reactor Dragon, our first card. 9 stars, 3000 attacks, 3000 defense, but I don't know why you will need defense anyways. It has a lot of effects, but we only care about the last part because the other are with gadgets, and we don't run gadgets in this deck. If this card attacks, your opponent's spell trap cards and monster effects cannot be activated until the end of the damage step. At the end of the damage step, if this card attacks, you can destroy one spell trap card on the field. That's so very good. So very good. You will say, hey, but it's kind of heavy, but yeah, we'll go into that later. There's a strong case for adding a third Incendiary Reactor Dragon. The only thing is you don't want these cards clogging your hand, because if you only have, for example, let's say you draw these 5 cards, yeah, you're not doing much. Yeah, but that will statistically never happen, so don't worry too much. Ancient Golem. The signature card of the deck, it's a little old, but the fact that it's still being run even with all these new cards makes proof how good it is. Cannot be special summoned. That will be an important clause that we'll go into later. If this card attacks, your opponent cannot activate any spell trap cards until the end of the damage step. If this card attacks a defense position monsters, inflicts piercing battle damage. Piercing battle damage means even if it's on defense position, the difference between your attack and defense will still be damage to your opponent. Gamma Seal, the Sea Turtle Kaiju. Okay, this has nothing to do with the deck, first of all. This is basically lets you tribute an opponent's monster and summon this in its place. And you will say, why would I want to give an opponent a 2200 attack monster? And the answer is very simple: to get rid of troublesome cards. Since this is the GX format, I expect a lot of fusions. And the thing with fusions is that they tend to be quite strong or quite tedious, or the guys that want to run fusions probably will run very strong monsters because every deck has strong monsters. So yeah, this is basically a way to quickly get rid of them, because tributing doesn't count as destroying it. So let's say an opponent's monster has an effect that when this card is destroyed, do this. It won't activate because you're tributing it with this card. Let's say your opponent has a card that says this can't be destroyed. It won't. You can still tribute it because tributing is not destroying it. So yeah, this is basically exists to get rid of your opponent's card. As in your engineer, this is a card I added, so feel free to remove it. I only added it because I felt this kind of needed a couple more bodies, but it's probably fine. Bodies for the fusion material, I mean. Negate any trap efforts that target this card. A quick reminding of target. Not all cards target. If a card says, for example, destroy all your opponent's cards, that does not target. But if a card says select an opponent's card and destroy it, that does target. So any trap that targets doesn't affect this. If this card attacks, your opponent cannot activate any spell trap cards until the end of the damage step. I will just skip that part because basically every card has it from now on. If this card attacks, target one spell trap card your opponent's control, destroy the target. Okay, so yeah, it's also, I mean, it's for the era this was released, it was very good. Now it's goodish, but you only want it really as fusion material. Ancient Wyvern, this is so good. Okay, basically it has the same effect that your opponent can attack. No, has a slightly different effect. If this card attacks, your opponent's monster cannot activate their effects, but your opponent can still activate spell trap cards. So be careful because this is slightly different. It negates your opponents, but they can still activate traps, unlike the rest of the archetype. But this is not why we want this card. We want this card because of the main effect. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add one ancient tier card from your deck to your hand, except Wyvern. So you can search this, 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 this. You can search this, you can search this, you can search. You get the point. You can search half of. You can search this. You can search half of your deck with this. So I think I don't need to say why this is so good anymore. Ancient Gearbox. I will say this first and after this. Ancient Gearbox, if this card is added from the deck or graveyard to your hand, except by drawing it, you can add one Earth Machine monster with 500 attack or defense from your deck to your hand, except it's Ancient Gearbox. Basically, this card will search this. So if you use Wyvern to search out box, this should search Gearframe and add it to your card, so you're basically getting a +1 because you're drawing 2 cards instead of just one. Gearframe is the only searchable card by box. That's why we only run one. We don't really need more of this. So yeah, it's good. It's not as good as the rest of the deck, but gives us nice consistency, and we love consistency. Gearframe. It has the note that this doesn't have the when this card attacks your opponent cannot activate spell or trap cards thing, but it only has 500 attacks, so you don't really want to attack with it. Just play it on defense. If you're playing it, you most likely just want to use it for fusions. Okay, Ancient Gearframe. Well, this does have, if this card attacks, your opponent cannot activate spell trap cards until the end of the damage step. Now this has 2 more effects. Now the first and the most important one. You can discard one card, add one Ancient Gear Golem, or one card that lists Ancient Gear Golem in its text, like Ancient Gear Fusion. So yeah, it can search either very strong monsters that you really want sometimes, or you can search out fusion cards. And searching out fusion cards in fusion decks is very, very good. So yeah, why not? Basically, if you've forgotten, generally for fusions, you need a fusion card and you need the monsters. For example, I will go with Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem because it's the simplest one. Ancient Gear Golem, so you need this card, plus 2 Ancient Gear monsters that can be any of these. So you need to have a card that fusions them, and both cards. They can be either on the field or on your hand. If you're in your hand, you can also summon with them. So yeah, no worries. So yeah, this can search your fusion card, one of the requirements. So yeah, it's very good. It's not as versatile as Wyvern, but hey, a searcher is still a searcher. So now we've gone over this and this. Ultimate Ancient Gear Hound. If this card is, if I move them by, down, and this distracts you, I'm sorry, it's just, and in the case of cards that require scrolling, you can read them better if you have them close to you. If this card is normal summoned, inflicts 600 damage to your opponent. If this card attacks, your opponent cannot activate spell trap cards until the end of the damage step. Once per turn, you can fusion summon one Ancient Gear fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion materials. So basically, remember what I just said about requiring another card to fusion? Okay, this sidestepped that. This card acts both as a fusion material and as a fusion card. So, for example, for Ancient Gear Ultimate Golem, you will need 3 cards and a fusion spell. You can just have these 3 cards. And this card acts both as a fusion spell and as a fusion material. So yeah, very good as well. Okay. It doesn't really matter the order which I go from the spells. I guess I will start with this because it's the one I just said with Gearframe. Basically, fusion summon one Ancient Gear fusion material from your extra deck using monster from your hand or field as fusion material, as normal. Yeah, you can fusion summon any of these. Now, if you use Ancient Gear Golem, you control as fusion material, you can also use monsters from your deck as material. That's so good. Like, you don't even need to have them on the field in your hand, you just use materials straight from your deck. That's as good as it sounds. Now, interesting part is announcing your golem you control. So you need to have this card on the field. And as we said, this card is quite heavy, but we're going into that. Actually, we'll go into that right now. Geartown. This card was anyone's nightmare back in 2006 and 6. Both players can normal summon Ancient Gear monster from one less tribute. So basically, this card that requires 1 tribute, or this card that requires 2 tribute only requires 1. This that requires 1 only doesn't require anymore. That's already good, but this is the important part. If this card is when this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one Ancient Gear monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. Yes, hand, deck, or graveyard. Mostly you want to summon Reactor Dragon from the deck, straight up. Now you can't use this to summon Ancient Gear Golem because this has the clause that cannot be special summoned. But hey, Reactor Dragons for free is so good. Now you say, but what if my opponent doesn't want to destroy your turn? Well, that's why we have Ancient Gear Catapult. Now, this card can only be activated while you control no monsters. Target one face-up card you control, Geartown. Okay, you can use it with any card, but let's be honest, you want to use it to destroy your own Geartown so you can get the Reactor Dragon. So target one face card you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon one Ancient Gear monster from your deck, ignoring its summoning condition. Now, because this ignores summoning conditions, you can summon Ancient Gear Golem. Even if it says it cannot be special summoned, you can do it because it ignores the summon condition. So yeah, basically you only have you play turn 1, you summon, you activate Geartown, you activate Ancient Gear Catapult, you destroy your Geartown, you special summon an Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon, and special summon and activate Gear Golem, Ancient Gear Golem, sorry. So yeah, 2,000 attack monsters in 1 turn. That's so ridiculously good. Okay. Now you most likely don't. I mean, yeah, you can still do it on turn 1. Maybe your opponent has Raigeki though, so be a little careful, but not too careful. And also, because this summons the Ancient Gear Golem, then you can. Oops, I accidentally removed one Ancient Gear Golem from this. That's not what I wanted to do. So because this removes, this summons an Ancient Gear Golem, and remember, Ancient Gear Fusion, if you control an Ancient Gear Golem, if it's on the field, then you can use monsters from your deck as fusion materials. So yeah, you can already start seeing the synergy in this deck. So yeah, that's one of the main combinations. I will go over the simple cards now just to give a break, and then I will go into the last combinated stuff. Oh, also, this has another effect. Well, this card, if this card is in your graveyard, you can banish it. Then target one face. Sorry, if this card is on your graveyard, you can banish this card, then target one face-up card you control, destroy it. So you can play Geartown, activate this, then on another turn, because you cannot activate both effects on the same turn, but you can activate Geartown, destroy it with Catapult. Next turn, you activate another Geartown, and with the same one from your graveyard, you destroy it by banishing it from your graveyard. So yeah, has 2 charges, you can say. I think that was a little messy, but I think you got the idea. Sorry. Ancient Gear Workshop. Target one Ancient Gear monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. Simple, straightforward recovery. I would run another one, but it wasn't on the original recipe, so maybe it's not needed. Give or take at your own, as your own preference. Ancient Gear Fusion, we already went over this card. Terraforming. Add one field spell from your deck to your hand. Very, very simple. It not only makes your deck lighter by milling it a little, it also searches your Geartown. So yeah, its main purpose, search Geartown. Limited removal. Double to attack of all machine monsters you currently control until the end of the turn, and during the end phase, destroy them. It's great for last resort attack or making one final push. Or maybe if your opponent is attacking you with stronger monsters, you can activate this as defense. So yeah, good for offense, good for defense. The downside is that it destroys your own monsters, but most of the time it's worth it, especially if you use it with something that inflicts piercing damage, because your opponent will take damage anyway. Now, the main card you want to use this with is Ultimate Ancient Golem, one of the fusions, because this not only deals piercing damage, but has 4,400 damage attack points. Sorry, so 4,400 times 2, 8,800. That's 800 more than the maximum life, at the starting life points. So if your opponent has taken any damage before, and then takes this as damage, he's probably. Also, your opponent cannot activate spell trap cards to defend himself. So yeah, he's probably dead. And just like that, we already went over the first fusion. Power Bond. This is a very risky card. So you can fusion summon one machine monster from your extra deck using monster from your hand or field of fusion material, and it gains attack equal to its original attack. Basically, its base attack is doubled. If this card will start with 8,800 attack points, same as Leviathan removal, only it's forever. And you will say, wait, that's so broken, and here's why it's risky. During the end phase of the turn this card is activated, you take damage equal to the amount of attack gained from this effect. So basically, it doubles attack, but on the end phase you take the original attack as damage. So this has 4,400. You will take 4,400 damage at the end phase, but you will have an 8,800 attack monster on the field. So yeah, it's risky, but hey, it's good. So yeah, use with caution, but definitely use it sometime. Now, Ancient Forces, I actually don't really know this card very well, but during the turntable normal or special summon, your opponent cannot target Ancient monsters you control with card effects, and they cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So yeah, it makes them immune to card effects for a turn. That's protection is always good, especially if it's as versatile as this one. The second part is still good, is also very good. Your opponent cannot activate card effects in response to the activation of Ancient card and effects. If this card is destroyed in the spell on trap zone, you can special summon one Ancient monster from your hand or graveyard. Also, you cannot special summon monster from the rest of the turn except Ancient monster. We don't care about that downside because we only run Ancient monsters. Well, and Gamma Ciel, so yeah, don't use it same turn as this, I guess. But most of our cards are Ancient. And also activates when it's destroyed. So if you really need it in a pinch, you can use destroy it with your own catapult as well. So yeah, basically protection. Future Fusion. So this is, I added it because it's iconic, but if I wanted to make this deck better, I would probably remove it. And that's something like another workshop or judgment, because basically this is a card that lets you fusion from your graveyard, but the fusion monster will appear in 2 turns. So it's slow, especially because this deck already has so many good fusion options. But yeah, this card was so damn good, I will just run it because it's iconic. So yeah, if you feel like it, remove it, I don't mind. You can add a Solemn Judgment or an Ancient Workshop. Those both are very good options. Or maybe a second box. Yeah, I think I initially figured out this deck would be a little light on bodies, like it will need more monsters, but it's running incredibly well. So I don't know. Ancient Castle, it's another card that's not so good, but I just added it because it's iconic. You can also add a third fusion. That's also a good thing to maybe sub out a Future Fusion for a Messenger Fusion. Sub out one of these for a Messenger Workshop. Okay, but Messenger Castle. All Messenger monsters gain 3000 attack. And each time a monster is normal summon or set, place one card counter on this card, and then you can tribute this instead of monsters in order to summon cards. Basically, each counter counts as a tribute. So, for example, this will require 2 tributes. You can tribute this with 2 counters instead. So yeah, simple. And now the only trap card in our deck. Another Reborn will also, because I didn't say that. So yeah, this deck is definitely improved. Maybe remove this, add another one of these. But hey, the deck is fine. Don't mess with it. Once per turn, if you control no monsters, you can target one ancient monster in your graveyard, special summon it. If you do, it gains 200 attack. Now, keep in mind, this card also works when it's special summoned, so you can use this to special summon this and search another cards. So yeah. You can only control one ancient Year Reborn. Yeah, so a small reminder, this can special summon this, but this can't special summon Golem, because they cannot be special summon restricted. So yeah, overall, I think this is a very competitive deck. I think it's very. I didn't go over Raigeki, just destroy your monsters your opponent control. Very simple. So I already went over the main synergies. Basically, catapult with Geartown, terraforming to search Geartown, catapult with this if you really need it, but I think I prefer having the protection on. Using this to search this and then this, using Geartown to summon Reactor Dragon, and using Catapult to summon Golem. Using this to get rid of very strong enemy monsters. Using this to resurrect. Actually, I'm going to... So this is the version I will run, because I like these nostalgic cards. But if you wanted to make it slightly better, you can probably go out on this and send your fusion, probably add a third fusion, and yeah, leave it like that. So yeah, now I'll show you the 2 parts. Now, when it comes to what do you want to fusion, because I haven't gone over any fusion aside from the Ultimate Ancient Golem, Megaton Ancient Golem. This is the card you want to fusion most of the time. It requires just 3 Ancient Golems, whichever 3 Ancient Golems. So yeah, you can do any combination you want. If this card attacks your opponent, cannot activate spell trap cards until the end of the damage step, as usual. If this card was fusion summoned using 2 or more Ancient Golem, it can attack up to that many times during each battle phase. That's a good bonus. You don't really need that, but it's a good bonus, especially if you use this and Ancient Fusion to use a second one from your deck to fusion it. So it can attack 2 times. If this face-up fusion summon card leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, basically if it's destroyed but not by combat, destroyed by any effect, you can special summon one Ultimate Ancient Golem. Now, Ultimate Ancient Golem, we already went over that. It has piercing. This does not have piercing, but it can attack multiple times if you use many golems. So you want to use this. And if this dies, then you summon this. Because this searches it is as this special summon this, ignoring the summoning conditions. So yeah, not only is it a very strong card on its own, but it also has a backup plan if it dies. I really love cards that have backup plan if they die. Now, Ancient Howitzer. This is more of a situational card. It requires 2 Ancient monsters, any 2 Ancient monsters, unaffected by other card effects, any effect. No effects can do anything to this. During your main phase, you can inflict 1000 damage to your opponent. You can only use this effect once per turn. If this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one Ancient monster from your deck, ignoring summoning condition. It's also quite good turn 1 play because it lowers your opponent's life points, making the thing I mentioned before where you double your attack with either one of these and then attack simpler. And also it special summons golems, so you can use Ancient Fusion with your Golem and bring this, and you know the drill already. So yeah, it's a very good card. I thought it would be more situational, but it's overall good. It's a good setup card while still dealing damage and being immune to effects. I don't know what else can you ask for it. Also, it's very cheap to summon, only 2 Ancient monsters. Chaos Ancient Giant is like the big baddie of the deck. 4 Ancient monsters. This is the most expensive one in terms of how many cards do you need, but it's not really because you can summon with the monsters in your deck. Sometimes you can do that. Must be fusion summon, cannot be special summon by other ways. Your opponent must unaffected by spell trap effects. Now, not only when it attacks, all the times it's unaffected by spell trap effects. So your opponent activates Raigeki, this doesn't care. This doesn't care. Just a side note, your opponent's monster cannot activate their effects during the battle phase, so they also can't activate their effects during the battle phase. That's very good, either on your or their opponent's battle phase. This card can attack all monsters your opponent control once each. If this card attacks defense position monsters, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. So yeah. Now the thing is, it doesn't have a floating effect. A floating effect is when it dies, it brings something back. This has a floating effect, so it's safer, but this card is just the ultimate boss. So a little more hard to summon, but if you use Howitzer to bring out an Ancient Golem, or you use this combination to bring out an Ancient Golem and then Ancient Fusion with cards from your deck, then it's not very hard to summon. I really liked it a lot. This was the one card I didn't know, and it surprised me. It's very, very good. So priority order, probably this card first, then this card as second option. This card is situationally but good for setup. And I think we went over all of the deck and its synergies. So yeah, I hope you liked it. Oh, we didn't go over Overload Fusion. Fusion summon one Dark Machine monster from your extra deck. Now you already notice there's only one Dark right here, and it's the big bad guy. By banishing fusion materials from your field or graveyard. Basically, this is a comeback card. You can use the monsters that are on your graveyard in order to summon this. Nothing more to say, really. That's the deck. I hope you like it. I hope you, I hope you enjoy playing it.